Indonesia is one of the largest podcast listeners worldwide, ranking in the top 10 markets on Spotify globally. The All-Ear Spotify Podcast Summit held the first and largest gathering in the country. From Jakarta, Metro Group Network's Audrey Widodo has more on this story.
Indonesia's digital age continues to boom. With rising media consumption, one emerging trend in the entertainment sphere has been podcasts. Indonesia in the third quarter 2021 had the second largest population of podcast listeners worldwide. Today, Spotify has released new features to enhance the experience on the app for musicians, artists, creators, and even listeners. Now let's take a look at what the All Ears Spotify Podcast Summit has in store today. So nowadays, Gen Zs are looking forward to listening to podcasts because of the storytelling aspect that it brings. Today, I'm joined with Carlos Zuzarte, Spotify's head of studios Southeast Asia. How is Indonesia's podcast market different from others in Southeast Asia and globally as well?
Right. I think compared to Southeast Asia, first of all, Indonesia is different in the sense that it's probably the fastest growing market and one of the biggest markets that we have. A lot of Indonesian podcasters know the power of how to run funny conversations and talk about culture and what's happening in society. I think it's the whole nongkrong culture in Indonesia. I think one of the things about podcasting that really works, it's just this whole power of intimate storytelling.
Horror is a huge genre in Indonesia, and many Indonesians enjoy listening to this horror comedy podcast called Podcast Malam Kliwon. I'm joined by Mas Danu and Mas Bimo. Kalau bikin podcast itu kayak lebih personal nggak sih kalau daripada banding bikin YouTube video gitu?
Agree. Secara kedekatan emosional, kita ngelihatnya di platform lain gitu ya, di platform video YouTube sama di Spotify. Itu yang di Spotify itu bener-bener into banget sama si podcasternya. Bahkan mereka nih tahu nama istriku siapa, aku lahir di mana, hobiku apa. Mereka nginget gitu loh.
Ya, karena di podcast mungkin kita masih diberikan keleluasaan untuk kita bisa berekspresi dan kita bisa ngobrol dengan teman-teman atau pendengar walaupun tidak ada di depan kita gitu sih.
Podcast also brings a diverse sense of belonging. And now I'm joined with Gautam Talwar, Spotify's general manager of the Asia Pacific, to talk more about Indonesia's market for podcasts. So when was Indonesia's podcast on Spotify launched?
Well, Spotify launched podcast in 2019. It's been a couple of years since, and it's been a phenomenal growth story for podcasting in Indonesia. We have seen a 5 times increase in podcast consumption. We just announced the launch of video podcasts as a feature to all our creators on the Anchor platform. And what that really means is any creator can create a podcast with video and get it onto Spotify.
So one of the cool experiences at this event is for participants to be able to experience what it's like to be a podcaster in these soundproof audio rooms. This is the first time that the All Ear Spotify Summit was held in Jakarta, Indonesia, making it a brand new experience for not only podcasters in the industry, but also those attending the event.
I think it's very nice for people who interact online usually, and now we get to meet face to face. I think it's an excellent opportunity.
Spotify sees this as just the beginning for the world of podcasts. There's so much more storytelling to be involved in the future for many content creators and also for the experience for listeners. Audrey Widodo, Robbie Brilliant, Metro